So I just always loved radio. I always loved listening to it. I love the guys that I grew up listening to, who I work with now. And I've wanted to do radio since I was like 7 years old. So I've always wanted to do it and never thought about doing anything else.
I talk a lot in my real life, so I just feel like, and I already, I just feel like.
And plus, for me, this is not like when I came in, I wasn't nervous. I just wanted to throw my 2 hay pennies in and just to see where it was gonna go.
It's not even being on the air. Like, I don't mind doing behind the scenes stuff, production, engineering, what have you. It's the feeling of you're directly influencing this entity, whatever it may be, that's impacting so many people in their daily routines, in their daily lives. Even if I was just behind the scenes in engineering, making sure all the equipment doesn't blow up, I'm fine with that, because I can still see the impact that it has there.
Well, this is what I call master control. This is the audio routing for all the studios in the building, and our automation system for all the computers that run our Scott Studios software, which is our automation software for on-air.
Well, and radio tends to have some interesting characters. I'm not sure that there's any one personality, because I've seen lots of different ones and they all work in their own way. I've seen people that are very introverted. You know, if you encountered them on an elevator or something, I mean, you could barely get them to say 2 words to you. But then you put them in front of a microphone, and boom, you know, they're larger than life personalities. So, you know, it's hard to say, you know, what type of personality will succeed.
Do you get the Wednesday before Thanksgiving off?
I assist with the music selection here on 97 Rock. I do middays. And I also am the public address announcer for the Buffalo Bills. I've been a Bills fan since I was just a kid, and it's really cool. You get to see my favorite sports team in action, and I'm the guy that says, "First down Buffalo" at the 23-yard line. Presentation of the music, the way we do our radio show, is the biggest change. When I first started, we played albums. You're familiar with albums? And I have one for you. How about 45s? They were little records. We used to play those back in the day, and that's the biggest change. It went from playing albums and 45s, and actually when I would do a radio show, we would have, our walls would be filled with albums, and we'd have racks and racks and racks of albums, and by the time a 5-hour radio show was done, there would be albums strewn all over the studio. Now, with everything being on a computer, being digital, there's no cleanup, there's no fuss, no muss. That's the biggest change.
97 Rock and 96.9 local radio made in Buffalo. Classic Tom Petty, some solo Tom Petty, a track from the Full Moon Fever album, and some help from some heartbreakers like Mike Campbell and Benmont Tench, and Running Down a Dream from Full Moon Fever, part of the Wednesday Workday Show with JP. I hope you are having a very good Wednesday. We'll do some.
I started, my first radio job was like June of 1998, I'm pretty sure. It's at a AM radio station, it's still there. The call letters were WCJW, Country Western. Yeah. They played both kinds of music, country and Western. Being promotions director, every on-air giveaway goes across my desk. I'm required to make appropriate winner sheets for the jocks to read the actual prize. I work very closely with the sales staff to make sure I have the wording right for what we're giving away. So I'm responsible for all on-air giveaways. We also organize promotions, contests when we're on location. Make sure we have the right people hired for each event and make sure that we look good at each event. And 97 Rock does a lot of events and does a lot of sales remotes and is at a lot of concerts. So my job, it's not a hard job, it's just a very demanding job, time-wise.
was absolutely astounding and mesmerizing to be working across the hall from Shred and Reagan after we were listening to them religiously for years and years in my adolescence. It took a year of being at Cumulus till I had the balls to go up to ask them, hey, can I observe, you know, one episode of the Shred and Reagan show? And, you know, they eventually said sure. And I didn't say anything just because I finally saw behind the scenes of everything I'd been listening to for so many years. And it was a little bit of a shock. I certainly recognized their voices, but it was Shred and Reagan more than any of them that had a profound influence on me, that certainly intimidated me the most.
Oh, man. My favorite part is being able to just talk and tell people about the news. And I love the feedback from people also, because it just shows that the hard work is not going unnoticed. And also it's giving us the chance to connect with other people from different walks of life. And people be drawn, because we get all types of different people that say they listen to us, and we're connected. Yeah, a few professors. We get people from professors to all types of different type of people from different walks of life that actually come and listen, and it kind of shows that we might be different, but we're all alike on some things, and we all have pretty much the same opinion on certain things, and like to talk about the same stuff pretty much. Same thing again. Send it. Bam.
Been given the gift of life. Give it back. You don't deserve it. What the hell are you doing?
I did not think of it in that way.
Glad you asked that question. Oh my goodness. I'm definitely a lot more interested in what podcasting has to offer, though I feel like it's got to go in a certain direction for people to actually connect a lot more with it. Like, it's great on iTunes and different things like that, but people are getting more and more impatient, and there's a lot of changes that are going to have to be made for technologies that won't exist, that don't exist in 2 years, or that don't exist yet but will in 2 years. I don't know where I see the future of radio going, but I'm keeping my pulse on it as much as I can, and I'm going to try to be prepared for just about anything it throws at me.
But you know, what radio will look like in a few years, I'm not sure. I mean, certainly online components are much more important than before. You know, I can't really say for, you know, with any certainty what will happen, but I think, you know, some, you know, particularly terrestrial radio, you know, your local traditional radio over FM and AM, I think they will probably need to focus more on local content, okay, because, you know, people can access national stuff, you know, through satellite radio, internet radio, and so the one thing that like local radio stations can still provide is that you know, that local angle in the personalities.
She has arms like linguini.
And it's the next generation who want to get into the radio business. Now, some want to get into promotions, some want to be on the air, some just are here to see if I want to get into this aspect of media, this avenue, or do I want to get into television, or do I want to get into music engineering or whatever. So we're all in the same boat, be it the ones that have been in the business for 36 years or the ones that are here interning. We all share the same passion. So if there's anything that we can give to college students, any knowledge we can pass on to college students, that's great. No, it never gets old. It's always good to see the next generation come in.
Not at all. Nobody's made, trust me, no one's made more mistakes than myself. I've made a lot of mistakes on air and off the air, so nobody should be afraid to make mistakes. That's part of it. That's part of life. Life's filled with mistakes.
Well, I mean, it can be a lot of fun. You know, you know, certainly it's an industry that's changing. There's fewer and fewer jobs available. Companies are hesitant to hire people full time. You know, so you know, I know lots of people that have been working at the same station for years, and they're still like part-timers, even though they're working like 39 hours or something, so they don't have to get paid benefits. So so it is tough, but I wouldn't discourage people if it really is their dream, you know, to try working in radio, because if you have the talent and if you really work hard, you know, I think there is a place for you.
Well, I mean, for me, for 36 years, I've always said it beats working. It's never seemed like a job. I think if you can go and do something and make a career out of something that just doesn't seem like a job, then you've got it licked. So the pluses is coming in. You know, I count the pluses every day. I mean, I come in, I work with people that I've known for many, many years. My colleagues have been in the business a long, long time. I get to play the music of my life. I mean, the music that we play on 97 Rock is my music. It's Led Zeppelin and the Beatles and the Who and Rolling Stones. And it's not physically taxing. I have a lot of friends that do physically taxing work, but it's mentally taxing because you always have to be on. So that's a plus and a minus, I guess.
Radio, it might have peaked, but radio is still a very big part of a lot of people's lives, and radio will never die. It'll never go away. It'll never go away to satellite radio. It'll never go away to iPods. Radio will always be there with the local connection of the jocks, the local forecast, the traffic reports, the news, just talking about local things. Radio will always be up there. I love the guys that I grew up listening to, who I work with now, and I've wanted to do radio since I was like 7 years old. So I've always wanted to do it and never thought about doing anything else.
I talk a lot in my real life, so I just feel like, and I already, I just feel like.
And plus, for me, this is not like when I came in, I wasn't nervous. I just wanted to throw my 2 hay pennies in and just to see where it was gonna go.
It's not even being on the air. Like, I don't mind doing behind the scenes stuff, production, engineering, what have you. It's the feeling of you're directly influencing this entity, whatever it may be, that's impacting so many people in their daily.
So I just always loved radio. I always loved listening to it.